All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we are diving into a truly colossal problem. Why do glaciers, some of the largest moving objects on our planet, lurch forward so unpredictably? And a new paper suggests the answer isn't some massive force, but something, well, something incredibly small.
So, get this. To understand a continent of ice, you first need to understand a single bubble. Now, that sounds like a riddle, right? But it's not. It's the radical core idea of this paper. It argues that the secrets to these massive, unpredictable movements are actually hidden at the microscopic level, in the physics of tiny bubbles at the boundary between ice and rock.
Okay, so this is the mystery we're trying to solve. You see, glaciers don't just glide smoothly along. Nope, they lurch forward in this jerky stick-slip motion. It's a violent process. And the whole thing is governed by this nearly invisible film of water, making it a total nightmare to predict.
So, how in the world do you even begin to model something so chaotic? Well, the paper proposes this really brilliant framework. It asks us to imagine that boundary layer not as just a film of water, but as a system of three microscopic gates that can open and close, controlling how the ice moves. So what are these gates? First up, we've got the EPS/gel gate. Just think of this one as controlling the stickiness or viscosity of the water down there. Second is the Marangoni gate, which is all about how changes in surface tension can create flow. And third, and this is the main focus for us today, the bubble topology gate. This one suggests that the actual physical pattern of microbubbles could be the master switch. And this, to me, is a sign of really good science. For each of these gates, the researchers lay out two competing ideas. One where the gate stabilizes the flow, making it smoother, and another where it destabilizes it, making it more chaotic. They're not just trying to prove themselves right, they're setting it up to follow the evidence no matter where it goes. So, with these big ideas on the table, how do you actually test them? Well, the paper zooms in on just one of those gates, the bubble gate. And it does it with a super clever, low-cost tabletop experiment to see if the whole idea, holds water, or in this case, ice. Okay, the experiment itself is beautifully simple, but don't let that fool you, it's also super rigorous. It compares a little ice puck sliding on a thin film of water under three different conditions. First up, you've got your control group, no bubbles at all. This just shows us what normal stick-slip looks like. Then they inject bubbles randomly. And third, the main event. Bubbles are injected in a very precise repeating pattern. And this is where we get to the core hypothesis, the big prediction. The researchers think the control condition with no bubbles is going to show the most violent stick slip. The random bubbles might do something, who knows, but the key test is the patterned bubbles, which they're betting will act like a kind of microscopic shock absorber, smoothing out the ride and seriously cutting down on that jerky movement. And this might be the most empowering part of this entire paper. This is not some massive billion-dollar experiment. It's a setup that you could probably build for under $150 with stuff you can get online or at a hardware store. We're talking a glass plate, an ice block, a syringe, and your smartphone. This is science designed for everyone. But, a clever idea and a cheap experiment, they're totally workless without one crucial ingredient: brutal honesty. And the most important innovation in this paper might just be its system for making sure the results are real and that the scientists aren't just fooling themselves. And that brings us to their core principle, stated right up front. No artifact clearance, no claim. Basically, if you can't prove that you aren't fooling yourself, if you haven't ruled out all the other ways you might be wrong, then you can't claim you've discovered anything. Period. So they formalized this idea with something they call the Sigma spec. And you can just think of it as a super strict three-part lie detector test for their own findings. A final valid claim only exists if you have a real signal and your quality assurance checks out and you've cleared all the potential errors. If any one of those fails, the whole claim is kaput. All right, let's actually break that down because it's really important. First, the signal. Is the effect you're seeing even real? Is it big enough to matter? They set a high bar, at least a 25% change. Next, QA, for quality assurance. Was the test fair? Was the temperature stable? Was the water film consistent? And finally, the big one, the artifact gate. This is the "are we absolutely sure we're not fooling ourselves" check. They ask everything, like, could something else explain the result? Okay, so you might be thinking, great, are they proposing we go inject a bunch of bubbles under Antarctica to stop glaciers from sliding into the ocean? Well, the authors are incredibly clear on this point, and it might just be the most important takeaway from all of this.
So let's be absolutely crystal clear here. This is not a geoengineering proposal. They are not claiming they can influence real glaciers. What this is a blueprint. It's a template for how to do careful, honest, accessible science. The whole point of this project is to perfect the method.
And you can see this commitment to being rigorous everywhere, right down to the design of the experiment. They plan to do a minimum of 60 runs. That's 20 for each of the 3 conditions. This isn't about just hoping for a lucky result. It's about collecting enough data so they can be statistically sure that whatever they find is a real effect, and not just some random fluke. And that really leaves us with a powerful final thought, doesn't it? The real hero here isn't some magic bullet for glaciers. It's the method. It's a way of thinking. It's a fantastic reminder that sometimes the world's biggest, most intimidating questions don't need the biggest labs. Sometimes all you need is a clear idea, a simple toolkit, and a ruthless commitment to getting to the truth, no matter what.